The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm actually saying that to myself in my basement to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Home Sweet Home, Mike Azzy, and I am joined by a guy who is 6 days away from opening day. Regz, we're almost there, bud.
I'm very excited. It's a very exciting time. I know it's getting closer because I'm starting to be more critical when I watch the games, and I'm taking it more seriously than I was 2 weeks ago, and I have to stop myself. I have to be like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I don't have to worry about this yet. I don't have to care about this. These mean nothing. But God, I want baseball to be back. I need it to be back. I need it to be. It almost seems, I don't know if the Eagles run and everything that's been happening with them, it seems like forever since we watched baseball that matters. It just seems like a long time. And I just had that epiphany right now, but it just seems like it's been a while, and I'm ready, man. I'm ready for it.
Today actually marks the last weekend for the next 7 months that we won't have to watch competitive baseball on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
I love it.
That's wild to me. Wild to me. And I say 7 months because I'm banking on them playing through October.
Yes.
So, you're looking at the only break from baseball is that 3 days at the All-Star break. That's it.
I can't. Yeah, I'm ready. My body is ready. My mind is ready. I'm ready. I need it.
And the way that my summer is functioning, I'm looking at having vacation during the All-Star break, which is perfect.
There you go.
Because I won't get in trouble for checking the score.
See, even Angela knows that even on vacation, I try and find somewhere that broadcasts baseball on the television when we're getting ready to go to dinner or something.
It is my vice in that way. I'm the same way, and I check my phone constantly for that reason. It's bad. Yeah. I have it on the game cast up and all that. So this year it looks like we're gonna be away when the All-Star break's happening, and I'm thrilled about that because I don't really watch all of that anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sure.
All right, man. Well, we're going to talk about the baseball team here in a little bit. We are going to dig in to some bold predictions, but we have to start with the Birds because they won't let us go a week without any news. They refuse.
Yeah.
It just keeps breaking. But this one is bittersweet, Regz. The news they gave us this week was bittersweet. Look, they've lost a few more guys along the way. We're not even going to talk about that. But we are going to talk about a guy that they lost who has spent 15 years bleeding green. Brandon Graham announced his retirement this week. His speech was perfect. It was very Brandon Graham. It was everything that you would want it to be. And you could see just so clearly why Brandon Graham is so beloved by teammates, by the fan base, and by the media. We don't often get to see BG in the setting where he's answering questions from the media. It's not something we typically get to see. Normally, he's in a scrum in the locker room or something of that nature. But very rarely is he in front of everyone answering all sorts of questions. And I saw a different version of BG than I think I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. It was some answers that you don't normally get based on the questioning that he's getting, because the line of questioning is typically about the game they just played or the team that they are preparing for. In this case, it was very much about his career, his own reflections, and things like that. So just wanted to spend a little bit of time here reflecting on Brandon and his career, and if there were any highlights from the press conference, anything that stood out to you from, it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. The Tuesday afternoon presser with BG. Anything?
I mean, I think very cool that he like shook hands with everybody in the room. Apparently that's how his first ever interview, like press conference, went when he first got drafted. So like a great anecdote there. And just shows you the kind of person that he is. I thought his speech was great. Not that I expected much different, but it was very BG. He didn't try and be anything different or make it anything different than just himself. So that was great. And I think in general, it really did make me think, like, 15 years, man. That was a long time. Like we were like, 22 or whatever, like out of college when they drafted Brandon Graham, which is crazy to think about. It's wild. But it was just great. I'm so happy he went out with those 2 Lombardi trophies sitting next to him. I think it was the best way for him to go out, being able to at least play in that last game. And the speech and the how he answered the questions afterwards was fantastic, as you would expect from BG. Very heartfelt, very genuine, and full of the perfect kind of emotion and reflection.
Yeah, I thought everything that we heard from BG was a true reflection on who he is. The entire time, it was hit after hit. It was smile after smile. He said a couple of really impact things, like, to me, that really hit me from an standpoint. The way that he talked to his yeah, so for me, the presser really came down to a couple of highlights, and the first was what you mentioned, and it was that he made sure that he greeted, hugged all of the press. The other thing that really stuck out to me was the way that he talked about his kids and sort of that first person in mentality that he's trying to pass on. I thought that was pretty powerful. I really appreciated that. And I really truly loved when he spoke to being in this generation with this new generation of players and having to understand sort of where they come from. And he shouted out his wife in this moment and talked about how she taught him that, everybody comes with their own experiences, and they're sort of like their own stories to tell. And for us, for him, it's about learning those things and letting them be who they are. Letting them live the way that they're meant to live, and just sort of not adapting to it, but or becoming it or chameleoning himself to it, but truly taking interest in it so he can better understand them and help to lead them. And I found that so valuable. Like, I don't even think just as a football player, I think just as a human,
Yeah.
that thought of like, we're so quick to judge everyone based on like their own experiences and what they enjoy and don't enjoy. And, I'm just as guilty as anybody else. But this is a dude who's really come a long way in this city and can sit up there with that smile. And I'll miss it the most. I said it in the TikTok. The smile when he's like messing with the reporters or talking trash. Um, and just the amount of times he smiled during this. You mentioned Regs that, his first year was 2010, right? That was his rookie season. Um, and I remember watching him get drafted. I remember sitting and watching that draft, specifically remembering him get drafted. And everything that came after it is such a whirlwind experience for him, man, because he was just considered a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Always going to be compared to like Earl Thomas, right? Like, it was always going to be that. And it's the greatest look at me now narrative ever. I don't know if there's a better look at me now athlete in Philadelphia than Brandon Graham.
Yeah, it was. I think Bo made a good point in their sort of tribute to him. He's like, they were talking about, what a great guy he is. They talked about sort of Fran working for the Eagles and how great it was to have BG and, his memories of him. And Zach, of course, talked about it. And Bo's just like, yeah, all that's great. But can we talk about how good a freaking player Brandon Graham was? For like, I know he's sort of a late bloomer, but he was so good for the Eagles over his career that how good of a guy he is sometimes overshadowed like his on-field accomplishments. And it was a great point because yes, you do, like, it speaks to the person that people are talking about your personality and how you treat other people before they talk about your accomplishments. So of course, kudos to him for being such a good guy, but I don't think you can't take away the man's sort of on-field resume and just how good and consistent he has been for the Eagles. Just like even in just the last, let's call it 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years. It's just remarkable how good of a player he's been. Sort of after all that early career, ups and downs to potentially thinking he was going to get cut. The guy gets injured, so he stays on the team, and then everything turns around for him. But this guy was a great player despite not having all of the top end, tools, you might call them, of great defensive ends. But he used all his skill and his ability, to become a great defensive player for some great defenses. And of course, it's all capped off with, the signature moment of stripping Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But, let it not be lost on everyone just how good a player, just how good a football player Brandon Graham was.
Yeah. One of the hallmarks of Brandon Graham, the football player, was how well he defended the run. It is never really talked about. I think that goes back to your point, how good he was at setting an edge, how good he was at those jet sweep plays and like sniffing them out. Like I can think of 3 specific times this year alone where he sniffed those out. There was one in the Rams game in LA. There was one in the Browns game. And there was one in the first Commanders game that he sniffed out a jet sweep with, like, it was almost like, why, if he's on the field, why are you running this? That's how instinctive he was with
right.
that. And yeah, early Brandon Graham, especially as he got older, I don't know, he definitely muscled up,
Oh yeah.
as technology and awareness of like what bodies need and as he aged and had to build that muscle, he definitely built up. But like I was watching some like highlight reel stuff of BG and just how small he was
Yeah. Yeah.
early in his career, which is a big reason why Chip Kelly didn't want him. Chip Kelly
Mm-hmm.
had like a type and BG was not that type. Um, but he played bigger. He played bigger and he played faster. And this year specifically, he was playing the best football I think
Oh my
that we've
goodness.
seen
Yeah.
arguably in his career. I mean, he was over 30 when he had the most sacks in his single season for his career. This is like the epitome of bad podcasting because I'm about to use like one of those really predictable nuanced phrases, but like he aged like the finest of wines. And I will always love BG for the player, for the person. Man, I gotta tell you, I think my favorite thing, I think everybody's favorite thing is the trash talk. But I was laughing so hard. Someone put like a compilation of his trash talk out of all these videos,
Yeah.
and there were a couple of good moments that I was laughing it so hard that I probably sounded like Brandon Graham. Here are a couple of the moments that got me. There's the one, and I think it was this year, where he was yelling at someone leaving the field during warmups that he has Lane Johnson on his team. Like 30 yards away, just yelling at this guy. I got Lane, like just like yelling at him. Right? That was one. There's probably four here. There's the one where he was talking trash in the postseason. It was to the Giants, so there's two here. Where he's talking trash at Saquon, and he's like, "You feel 5'5" one time, and wipe that smile right off your face." Right? Like there was that, and then he was talking trash to Dexter Lawrence, and Jason Kelsey walks off the field. He's like,
Yeah.
"Someone tell him to stop."
Yeah.
Will someone tell him to stop?
Yeah. It was like during the coin flip, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like before
Yeah.
the game. And the last one that this is my absolute favorite of all time. He is blacked out trash talking during a game. And Fletcher Cox is trying so hard to get his attention, to tell him something. It's third and long. And he finally slaps him and he's like, "Yo," he's like, I'm with you. But yeah, he's still
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, man. He did say he's going to be trash talking these guys at practice. He's going to be around. He was going to have dinner with Mr. Laurie,
Mhm.
all this stuff, and they were going to figure out a role. But I'm telling you, I think the guy who's taking his role is Nolan Smith
Yeah. I think the
in
one
that department.
the one that sticks out for me is they were in the Kelly Greens and he's on the sideline and he's screaming and then he goes, "Calm it down, BG." And then he like takes a big breath. He's like, "Jesus, I almost passed out from talking shit." He's like, "I gotta calm down." He's like, "I'm seeing spots." He was like getting dizzy because he wasn't catching his breath enough from screaming at the other team across the sideline. It's just really funny.
Well, and so the other from that same game, because that was the Buffalo game, when they lost the toss, he just immediately goes, "That don't matter.
Yeah.
That don't matter." Like
Yeah. Yeah.
and when they kicked the field goal, he was like, "Y'all gonna lose."
Yep.
You ever hear Jalen Hurts?
Mhm.
It's just like,
Yeah.
just cannot stop.
Yeah.
He cannot.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just the
man.
last thing for me is that I think his versatility as a D lineman also, like I'm sure people remember, but the strip sack comes from him lining up on a guard, right?
Yep.
Not on the outside.
NASCAR. Yep. NASCAR.
And then I'll never forget this year in the first game against the Rams where he goes crazy. But just showing his veteran ability, he's on the left side and on the edge and comes up to the tackle and just double swipes the tackle's hands down. And the guy, like, you can't see the guy's eyes, but it's almost that you can see it through his skull. with the way his body moves after Brandon just goes, "You're not going to touch me. Now I'm going to go blindside your quarterback." And you can see like the guy's expression through the back of his head, that his eyes are this big, like, "Oh no, I just killed Matt Stafford because I just got destroyed by this 30-something-year-old defensive end," like you said, who was playing some of the best football of his life before he got hurt.
Out of control good football.
And I love that he's gonna like try and be around the team. I think just like Kelsey, I think it'll be great for everybody involved to keep his leadership around. So, you know, just kudos to Brandon Graham on a fantastic career. You know, a future Eagles Ring of Honor, you know, Eagles Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor, whatever you want to call it. He'll be up there. You know, 5'5" might be retired from a team standpoint. Like, he deserves all of it.
For sure.
And to go out, you know, surrounded by those 2 Super Bowl trophies, like, I think was the perfect send off for him.
Yeah. He's and I loved seeing all the guys there that were there for him too. That's sort of that always like hits, right? This is a dude who has made an impact on so many players. I mean, I was like thinking about the span of his career and just like guys that he played with when he was drafted all the way to Jalix Hunt, and it just blew my mind. It blew my mind. So
Bo made a joke about that him and his dad used to like playing like the Kevin Bacon game, but with sports people. And he made some reference. He's like, you can go all the way from this person. I think he used Jalix Hunt to Jalix Hunt and just have Brandon Graham in the middle, like for all of it. And he's like, it's crazy.
I have all of their podcasts from the week saved because, as you know, I'm driving to Massachusetts this week, and that's my very favorite podcast outside of the Phixated Podcast, of course. So I just loaded up their whole week of content because nothing easier than listening to Bo make fun of Zach for 5 hours. So, hey, real quick, before we get into the Philly stuff, let's it's mock draft season, buddy.
Love it.
We are a month away from the draft.
Crazy.
So
we got to start figuring out our schedules.
Yeah, we got to figure out a way for us to be together. Although I really don't believe they're picking in the first round, so it would just be us sitting there and waiting for.
It. Maybe it's like it's a day 2 reaction instead of day 1.
Maybe it is. We know how he loves those day 2 things. Maybe it is day 2. To talk about that,
we'll figure it out.
A bad idea, bud.
Figure it out.
So for those new to the show, and I know we're definitely building some new listeners with the social media stuff happening, but I do mocks every year. This year we're gonna do them a little bit differently. Usually I do 2 an episode. Not gonna do that this year. We're gonna do 1 this week. We're gonna skip next week for the Phillies. And then we'll keep going until the draft rolls around. And each week I'm going to put a new stipulation. Got the word this time, Regz, because I could not think of it before the show. A new stipulation on the draft. So like this week, I could not make any trades. I was not allowed to do anything trade-wise. So the one that we'll do next week, I'll put the stipulation or 2 weeks from now that I can only put 2 trades out there to trade back or trade around. But for this week, I made none. Okay. I'll be honest with you. I don't love the draft. The computer loved it. Computer thought it was an A- draft.
There you go.
But when I look at it, I don't love it. So I just, I'm not a huge fan of it. So we'll go ahead and walk through it. I'll let you kind of ask questions or have a conversation as we go through, if anything pops into your head. But let's dive in. So no trades. That means they pick for the first time at 32. And I have them taking, and this was interesting. There were a few guys there, but I ended up going with safety from Georgia, Malachi Starks. A heck of a player. arguably a top 10 player in the draft, but it plays a position that doesn't have a lot of value. I worry about this pick, Regs, because they're going to get really expensive back there really fast. They're going to have to pay Q. They're going to have to pay Coop. They're going to have to pay Starks if they draft them. And I know that's a 3 years from now problem, but you don't draft for 1 year. You draft for all of that. So trying to pay 3 guys in your secondary is a big, big thing. But for the player, he's a heck of a player, and he's another Georgia Bulldog. So there's that. Thoughts?
I'd be ecstatic if he was there at 32. I think it's a real position that they need to get somebody like that. I think by all accounts he's like a top 15 talent in this draft. So I mean, a guy you would hope just plugs in immediately and it develops along with all the other young guys on this defense. I think you're right. I think it does coincide with a lot of these other guys getting paid. But on the other hand, right, it probably also coincides with not paying a lot of these offensive guys. Like, so,
Right.
There's some sort of trade-off. The Eagles, probably are never going to be a team that spends way more on their corners and safeties than they do their wide receivers and other skill positions. So you certainly could run into some issues there. But I think just for the talent, if he's still there, like that's like it'd be tough to pass that up at that pick.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's an exceptional player, man.
Especially with the need being so great at that position for this team. Like I know you're still picking the best guy, but it's such a fit for what this team needs right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a big time. He's like a cheat code, man. Like it would be a shock if he got to them.
Yeah.
I'd be stunned if he ended up getting them. That's how good I think he is. For me, it really is just like it was like, man, I know what I'm doing this for. Like, I get it. Don't be an idiot. Take him. You take him. He was an A+, and so was the next guy at 64. Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU. This is a dude who amassed 1,000 receiving yards. He is I read something the other day that like 70% of his receptions went for first downs. Like that's an insane stat.
Is that good? It seems good.
It seems good. Really good hands, kills zone defense.
What's the height and weight on him?
He is 6'4", 250. Right. He has good genes. Remember Jason Taylor, the Hall of Famer? It's his son.
Oh, well, yeah.
So pretty good genes. I think he'll grow as a run blocker. I was doing a little thing. He's a blocker right now. But I think he'll grow into that. I think it's something that can be coached based off of what I read. I think he's a top 7, 8 tight end by year 3 of his career. So another A+ pick, according to the computer. I really like him. This was one where I was like, oh, Mason Taylor's there. All right then. Because I've seen a lot of him getting picked before that.
Yeah.
So, and they need one. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
They're gonna need one. All right. Into the 3rd round at pick 96. Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle or defensive line. He's listed as now. He's not listed as defensive tackle. Defensive line from Tennessee. Look, really good size. 6'2", 295. Like a good pass rusher who doesn't just have like one trick in the bag, which I think is, important. Pretty good agility, tested well. Athleticism tested well. Long arms, 33 and 5/8 inches. Whew, baby. Good motor. I think for him, the only thing that I've read about him is that he doesn't rush well or doesn't play the rush well. And we know how important that is in Fangio's defense.
Yeah.
He's also a little older, which isn't always something that the Eagles liked to draft. So I'll be curious. He was just the best player there when I looked. He also had a little bit of trouble. He got suspended, which is another thing that the Eagles don't necessarily love on field stuff. Like the Eagles have had 0 suspensions in the last like 5 or 6 years. So I don't know. Well, but they feel like their club or their locker room culture can overcome that.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point they have they have to have a pretty good vetting system.
Yeah.
Like, say what you will, like we know who Jalen Carter is now, but there's a reason he dropped to 9.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I know the accident and things like that. Like that's sort of off the field stuff. But even everything that was even coming out from like Georgia coaches was like he doesn't try that hard. Like he isn't, he kind of just half-asses it until he decides he wants to play. And like now he's out there playing 90% of the snaps for the defense. So they obviously did have their own vetting process and have so far, if their track record is anything to speak of, have a pretty good way to decide if this is truly the person's character or not. Look, are you going to get that right 100% of the time? Of course you're not.
Yeah.
But you would have to think if they took somebody, I'm not, again, since it's just a mock, obviously, but you'd have to imagine if they took somebody like that, they'd have done their homework. And, at the very least, the Eagles are going to do their homework on guys that they're looking into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that'll take us to the next to the 4th round. Ty Felton was the pick here. He's a wide receiver from Maryland. This is why I like what the Eagles are doing right now. I didn't feel like I was tied to drafting a position. And I do like Felton. I liked watching him at Maryland. I got to see him play a couple times during games with Penn State. Very quick, not fast, just quick with his routes. Really good route runner. But he's not like physical. So when you get guys that are handsy, he doesn't really do well off the line. I think his short area quickness is something that they'll see and like. Kind of reminds me of Aeneas Smith a little bit.
Yeah, I was
so
just
it's almost
about to say,
double.
Yeah.
He's at best going to be a slot receiver. I don't know. I think it really comes down to it comes down to 2 things. One, where do they see Aeneas Smith fitting in? 2, is Johnny Wilson potentially making the move to a tight end spot? And you want to draft another receiver. So it'll be interesting. He's a nice pick in this spot, like in the 4th round. I think this is where he'll be. Probably a top 15 receiver, depending on whose board you look at. So it wouldn't be a terrible decision, but I don't know, not someone that I'm like pounding the table for, right?
Right.
So that's him. Anything on him before I jump to the next?
I think, like you said, I immediately thought of Aeneas Smith. So again, it's kind of like why when it was kind of Aeneas Smith didn't really kind of work out, at least in his first year. It'd be a weird sort of, we already kind of have one of those that we don't quite know what to do with at the moment. So it'd be odd to take another one.
Yeah.
Unless you're turning him into like a kick return, punt return guy, for some reason. But yeah, that'd be one of those like, really, that's what we went with?
Yeah. Yeah, it would, you'd have to force the vision.
Yeah,
I think is
for
the
sure.
best way to say it. Okay, so I finally get the offensive lineman here with the first pick of the fifth round, where they have all these fifth round picks, like all within 8 of each other. Miles Frazier, guard out of LSU. I like this kid. I actually was kind of surprised he was available in the fifth round, but when I looked, most people do have him going in that area in day 3. And I couldn't quite figure out why. He seems to get off the ball well. He fits the mold of an interior offensive lineman. He's not super quick, but it doesn't hurt him, at least from what I've seen and read about him. Overall, like, he'd be fine. I think he could play himself into a starting role at some point, but he would take some development. The Eagles have the right coach to do that, but he's played at a high level. I mean, played at LSU. Like, that to me, he can be coached.
Yeah.
So that's the offensive lineman. Like, that's the guy. Is he the guy to take over right away? I don't know that, but he's at least the guy to be the interior offensive lineman. This is not a draft where I found a tackle. So
Interesting.
Unfortunately, I didn't get the Lane replacement.
Even
here,
after the sort of news that's come out that they, have had 3, I think, tackles in the building, right, for interviews in the past few days.
Top 30s.
Yeah.
The only 3 top 30s they've done so far are all offensive tackles.
Yeah.
So it's very clear what they are, what they're looking at least early.
Yeah.
And always trust the Eagles' top 30 visits, because they only pick guys who they do top 30 visits.
Yeah.
Like, tale as old as time with the Eagles.
And I think it's I think it's also relevant that during Lane's press conference, for his extension, he talked about sort of wanting that next guy in here so he can start coaching them and mentoring them. Like, he saw what Kelsey did with Juergens, and BG was doing with Nolan, and Fletch did with Jalen Carter. Like, he's seen these guys, all these other guys from his, you say era, but the guy's still playing like the top right tackle in all of football. So you can't really say he's out of it. He's missed his era, but he was very honest. Like, he wants that next guy to be able to mentor and coach and, help get there for the next few years, so he can sort of leave this team the same way Kelsey has, and BG is going to, and Fletch did. He wants that same sort of thing for him. And I think the organization took notice, quite honestly. And, not that it's going outside of the norm for the Eagles to focus on offensive and defensive linemen, but when a guy like Lane Johnson says that, like, you got to perk up, you gotta, you gotta hear that and sort of take it to heart a little bit about what your plans are for the future. And again, not to say that the Eagles aren't thinking about a Lane Johnson replacement. I think they are,
100% are.
Yeah, they obviously are, and will continue to until they find the right person. But I thought it was interesting that Lane, made it a point in his press conference to talk about that.
Yeah, I think he wants to do for whoever comes in what Kels could do.
Yeah,
for,
exactly. Yep, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yep.
All right. So went and got a linebacker at 164, Danny Stutzman, who played at Oklahoma. Again, another guy that I think could end up being a starter in the league. I've seen comps to Logan Wilson, who I really like. And he's fast. He's got good size, like sideline to sideline type of linebacker. Instincts on the run, not great, but that's coachable. Like, we saw that sort of with Zach Bond.
Yeah.
And we saw improvements with that with guys like Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt, like their instincts with the run. So I think that can happen. The thing about him that makes him not a Vic guy is he does struggle a little bit in zone coverage. So that, unless they feel like the coachability is there.
Right.
I don't know.
How old is he?
I'll tell you here in a moment. He just turned 22.
Okay.
11 days ago. So,
Okay.
yeah. So an interesting one. You know, I do think they need to look linebacker in this draft, and that can come in undrafted free agency. It could come late, but they probably should look there. They don't have a ton of depth
Yeah.
right now. Went corner at 165 with Tommy Hill from Nebraska. I kind of I like his size for a corner, 6 foot 220, like really physical, um, good ball skills, not a great run defender, but how many corners really are
Yeah.
like Cooper's sort of a cheat code in
Yeah.
that way. Um, but he is physical. He's active. He likes to tackle. Um, Ball skills are good. Struggles in man, which is fine because they don't do a ton of that. I like him. On for a day 3 late pick would be a fun little project, sort of, Keely Ringo-esque in that way. But he is he's 23. He turns 23 today, actually. Happy
Okay.
birthday,
Yeah.
Tommy. Hope
Happy
you're
birthday,
meeting.
Tommy.
So yeah. And then but corner's probably a place that they're gonna at least take a peek. They don't have a whole lot going on there right now. And then went David Walker, edge out of Central Arkansas. Don't know much about him. I did a little bit of reading about him yesterday. Most of what I saw is positive. Like the stuff that isn't sort of like feels like body out of his control, like little tight coming out of certain, like getting cut in the corner, short arms, doesn't have like great knee bend, so his flexibility isn't all that great. And you feel like at this point now he plays Central Arkansas, so maybe there's stuff that the Eagles could do that they couldn't do. But developmental guy, like, you're taking him late in day 3. Like I have him in, I don't know. He's going to be a 25-year-old rookie, so he's an old as Bode.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting project to pick.
Yeah.
Small school guy. I don't know, just a fun one. He was kind of sitting there, and I was like, well, edge rusher, they could use a little depth there.
There you go.
So that's our first draft, Regz.
Crazy to think
That's
that
it.
we're already here.
I know, and honestly, I only like 4 guys in it. So
I thought the first 2 picks were very good.
yeah, and from there, it's just I think that's the sort of, this is why it's tough to win the Super Bowl. Because you're picking at the end of every round. So you're really, I do think Howie's going to move around quite a bit. I don't anticipate 4 5th-round picks.
Right.
He's going to move around,
Mhm.
and maybe it's trading out of 32 and picking up an extra 4th, and using a couple 5ths and a 4th to move up into the 3rd. And they're going to do some things to get the guys they want to get, and we know that.
Yeah.
Real quickly, we should mention that they did sign Azzy. Did a video on it, but Regz, I do love these 1-year deals.
Yeah.
And we can save that for another day, but we talked about it before, and I'll just reiterate, it's all about draft proofing.
Yeah.
And they're really doing a nice job of that. I think the Justin Simmons deal is going to happen after the draft, and here's why. They think signing him, or they know that signing him is going to mess with the comp pick formula. If they wait till after the draft, it doesn't impact the comp pick formula. So they probably said to him, we've got a deal, but we're not making it official until after the draft, because then it doesn't mess with their comp picks for next year. This is how he does. He's a freaking wizard. He's a wizard.
Love it.
So if that happens, remind me to cut this clip and post it on social media.
Yeah.
Because that's what I believe is happening. I really can't imagine they're going into the year with third-year player Reed Blankenship, third-year player
Yeah,
Sidney
right.
Brown, and that's the safety room.
Yeah.
That's
No, I
happening.
completely agree. Yeah.
They're bringing a veteran in.
Yeah.
So, all right, Regz, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Here's how we're gonna do this. I have 12 bold predictions. You're just gonna name a number, and I'm gonna give that prediction a little bit of an explanation, and you can react to it. But 12 bold Phillies 2025 season predictions. We're 6 days away. I did a couple of videos back-to-back nights on the TikTok page about the Phils. Last night was just a little updating on the team. Tonight's was, here are my 3 key players to the 2025 season. I gave one of the regular 9, one starter, and one reliever. Did you watch the video yet?
I did not yet.
Do you have any guesses? I won't tell you if you're right.
One regular player, one starter, one reliever
Yeah, who do you think I said?
as players to watch.
No, players that I think are most important to the team's success.
Most important to the team's success. Okay. Starting pitcher. Oh God. It could go a lot of different ways here.
I actually think I said that on the video.
I'm gonna guess Nola. Regular player. I'm gonna say Bryson Stott as regular player.
Okay.
And then reliever. I'm gonna say Kirkring.
All right. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You got 2 of 3 right,
Fantastic.
but I'm not going to tell you
All right,
which
yeah.
2.
I will
You'll
watch
have
the
to go
video
watch
later, and I'm going to text you.
All right. I can't wait for your reaction. Okay. 1 through 12. Where are you going first?
Got to start with the favorite number and our boy, Mr. Bryce, number 3.
Number 3. Christopher Sanchez wins the Cy Young Award. Now,
God,
for those that don't know.
Picked a good one to start.
Yeah, we're stoking the fire tonight, baby. For those that don't know, Azzy likes to dabble in a little bit of betting. Christopher Sanchez odds to win the Cy Young plus 3,000. Your boy put some money on it. I don't know that I have ever had more stock in a player preseason than I do Christopher Sanchez. I am so in on all things Christopher Sanchez. I buy all of it. This dude, 96.3 on the fastball this spring. The changeup somehow looks better. And he's throwing 2 versions of the slider. Regz. Sanchez season?
Yeah.
Sanchez season?
Yeah. It would be fantastic. Let's just say that. I think it would be exactly what this team needs to have a guy like that with how we know Nola can be. Ranger already is having some back problems. And you have to, right? You're hoping that Luzardo can stay healthy and look and be that guy that we know he is. But Sanchez really is turning into that third sort of workhorse that you're looking to have. And if he takes that step, I mean, it's just crazy with the deal that he's on. And then you start thinking about, well, Wheeler's only got like 2 or 3 years left. And we know he's done after that. Like, he's just done. And if you got a guy like Sanchez who is still continuing to climb, like, just think of that guy and Andrew Painter as your 1-2 punch in a few years' time. It's crazy to think about the development that guy's made.
Yeah. I absolutely love him. I Sanchez Cy Young season, baby.
Love it.
Here it comes. All right. Pick a number.
My 2 oldest boys' baseball number. Mr. Trey, number 7.
Okay. This one is specific to us. I have a few of those buried in here.
Oh, I love it.
All right. I will get the first Angry Regz text
Oh, okay.
after the middle of April. After April 15th. That's about 14 games into the season.
Yeah.
I believe that you can make it 14 games
Yep.
without the first Angry Regz. Not like is our baseball team okay
No.
text. Not
No,
like
it's going to be
not
very
that.
specific
talking,
to somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking the Angry Regz.
Why the F
text.
can't Trey hit the ball to right field?
Yeah. I am talking the Angry Regz.
Well, are you?
I'm giving you.
So I guess you're taking the over on this.
I actually thought about saying May.
Wow.
I did. I was going to give you May, but I thought maybe I should because it's bold.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You have some control over this. Too.
I do now. Now that I know about it. It'd be funny to think of if I didn't know about this, what it truly would be.
Yeah, how about it? I just need you to be yourself, though. I need you to send it when you feel it.
You know that I'll forget about this. It'll be an instant. True. It's an instant emotional reaction, which is why they're so funny. And I think the funniest part is how much I think about it before I send it to you, because all I think about is like, God, should I send this to him? Like, I'm not trying to be that guy who all the time just sends my friend these off the wall, ridiculously emotional text messages about this baseball team. Because I know you're like the person to text for baseball for plenty of people. And so I try to keep I hope that our conversations are at least mutually beneficial sometimes to talk to, and I know there are times during the season where you get sick of me, and that's fair enough, but I really do try to like be conscious of the ridiculousness that I text. Again, do I fail in that regard? Plenty of times. See Azzy's text history as an example, but
you know what, I'm gonna start making that part of the TikTok channel.
Here's Reg's angry text from this week from
Reg's
the baseball team. God!
Actually, that's hilarious, and I'm doing it.
That would be really funny as a bit. That would be really good. I don't think I'd come out looking great, but it would be really funny.
Right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it every week.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it every week.
Anything for the content. That's a good one.
So do I go mid-April or
no? I think that's a great number, because I think it's enough time for me to forget about this, but not so early that I'm still not in the like. Okay, it's just the first few games.
There's a chance you send me something like
it could be like Dodgers day 3. Yeah.
There's a chance. There's a chance. All right, next number.
Let's go our quarterback, number 1.
The Phillies will repeat as division champions and win the World Series.
This one's very interesting.
Regz, I firmly believe that this team feels disrespected by its own city too. Like I truly believe that, and I'm going to do a state of the team on TikTok, and I'm going to say it now. I don't know that a team has ever been as disrespected by its own fan base as this one has been. It's like every national media outlet has them top 5 team in baseball. And we're over here, well, the Mets are going to be, and the Braves and the Dodgers. Like, every media outlet has the Phillies as a top 3 to 5 team in the game, most of which have them at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, lest we forget, they were a really good team last year. I know what the end of the year was. I get it. I know they were 51-51. But like, there's the old saying that everybody goes 50-50. It's what you do in the other 62. And they were really good in the other 62. Really good. Their pitching staff got better. It's yet to be seen, but very possible, based on what we've seen in spring, that the relievers have gotten better. And the offense looks like they figured some things out. Not everyone, but most. I fully believe the only roadblock is in Hollywood. That's it. I truly believe that's the one team that can get in their way. That's the one. That's it. It's only the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Give me an American League team that you're scared of.
Yeah, no. There isn't one.
No. And I'm not scared of the Mets. I could not be less scared of the New York Mets. You can cut this out, take it, play it back. I truly believe the Mets are going to miss the playoffs. Like, they have a chance to miss the postseason. Their pitching staff stinks.
Yeah, not according to their social media, and Clay Holmes at the .93 spring training ERA.
Awesome. 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 Can't wait.
Look, man, you know this. All my heart is in this with you. It was a bummer today. I listened to Russillo's podcast. Our beloved Jeff Passan was on with him, as he usually does, to preview, the baseball season coming up. Had the Phillies finishing third in the NL East, and the Braves winning it.
Disrespectful.
It was. I love Jeff. We love Jeff on this podcast.
Disrespectful.
Hugely respectful of Jeff and his work. It's a common parlance for you and I to be like, it's not true until Passan tweets it. Unless Jim Salisbury says it, and then it's always true. But it was, it's a weird contrast, because then you see, like you said, the power rankings have a lot of these power rankings have the Phillies in the top 3. And I think even Passan was like more higher on the Diamondbacks than he was on the Phillies. I get it. The Phillies are on the older side, quotation marks, older side of these guys. We obviously know the talent that the Dodgers have. Obviously, the Mets and the Braves have talent. We get it. But the Phillies have consistently been winning more and more regular season games. For the past several years, as Jason Stark had a great column about all this, maybe a few weeks ago. I still believe this is a good team and a team capable of winning a World Series. My hope, my dear hope, is that last year was nobody thinks we can start hot. And so all their focus went into, we have to start fast. And then they went into cruise control. And we talked about it a bunch of times. We made comparisons to like the NBA, to the Boston Celtics when they won last year. The Celtics were a team that never went into cruise control last year.
Yeah.
Because their only goal was to be the best team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take nights off. They didn't go into worse places and play worse teams and just think they could cruise to a win. They were like, we're going to beat this team by 40 to show everyone that we're the best team in the NBA. And that's the mentality that winners have to have. You can't flip the switch, man. Last year proved it. This team doesn't have a switch to flip. It's not there. You have to play again. You don't have to be 30 games over 500 all the time, but you have to be consistent. You can't have the tale of two halves like they did last year and just put it in cruise control and be playing the way they were playing and go into the playoffs. You can't do it. Can't do it. Doesn't work. So my only hope is that that's what they've learned. If you want to be the best team and come out at the end as the best team in baseball, you have to play like it every day, all the time.
No notes. 100% agree with everything you just said. There's a world where there's a world that I am concerned. I keep hearing them say over and over again, they just have to get hot at the right time. And I'm that part concerns me a little bit. Like, just play good baseball all year.
All the time, yeah.
Just play good baseball all year.
There doesn't have to be these ebbs and flows to it. Like, just try and be a straight line.
Yep.
And if this team is a straight line, you're going to win like 8 out of 10 series you play. You're going to win. And you know what that leads to?
Win 4 games a week. Win
a
at least
really
4
good
games
baseball team. Like, that leads to a really good baseball team.
Yep. Well, we'll see. But that was, I mean, it was listed as number 1, so I firmly believe it.
Yeah.
And I was right about the Eagles. So
yeah, that's right.
All right.
Next number 11.
All right, you'll like this one. This is me and you. We both have Sunday season tickets.
Yes.
We will share at least 7 beers together this year. In stadium.
Okay. I'd probably say that's an over for what it was last year.
What? Did we go over last year?
I mean, did we get to 7? I know, like, I don't know. I don't know if we did.
I can remember 3.
Okay. So there you go.
So I put it at 7 to double up. I can remember 3. It doesn't mean we had less or that we didn't have more.
Right.
It's just I remember 3 specifically. So Regz and Azzy will have 7 beers together in the stadium this year.
I love it. I hope listen, nothing I want more than this to be true.
All right. Well, there you go. That's number 11. All right. Next one.
5.
Okay. This is an interesting one based off of the news yesterday. Rafael Marchand will catch 50 or more games this year. Now, I need to preface, because I can already see your wheels turning, and I'm sure people are freaking out. This is not a result, or does not have to be a result, of JT Realmuto being hurt.
Right.
This could simply be, we're going to have JT play first today. We're going to put JT in left today. JT's getting a day off today. But I do believe Marchand is not just here because he doesn't have options. Marchand's here to catch 2 days a week, maybe. At certain points in the year. I know JT doesn't want to sit. I know JT doesn't think he has to sit. But if they're going to get effective JT, and if they're going to see what Rafael Marchand brings, he's going to have to play 50 games, at least that. So I do have him playing a good chunk of games this year, and there might be a time where JT hits 10-day, and they have to use him. But I do think a bulk of this is going to be playing days off, or playing days to get him off his feet in another role, DH, outfield, first base.
I mean, I think, like you said, the sort of team number is like right around 100, right? Or, he's been closer to 120, I think, for the past few years, and the team is trying to get that closer to 100. So let's even just say you meet in the middle at 110. That's 52 games. I think this is a good one. I think they need to see what Marchand has, because they need to know it from an organization standpoint, like what they have here. It's hard to address catcher depth. Like, it's hard. But I think that's something they really need to. I think they see it as a focus and a need, with the gap between Marchand and Stubbs and then Taiit, right? There's a huge gap between those guys. And and just realistically, with how baseball works and injuries work, you have to have something more than what they currently have. This is a good one. I think 50 is a perfect number.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be. All right, what you got?
Let's go number 12.
Nah, save that one. We'll do that
Okay.
one last.
Okay, never mind. Number 8.
Number 8. Justin Crawford debuts before June.
Wow.
Now,
This is a
today was
bold
announced-
one.
Mm-hmm. Today it was announced that he's starting in AAA.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did I
He will
miss
start
that?
in Lehigh Valley. He will start in Lehigh Valley. I believe that there's 2 reasons for this. One, he was awesome. Like during big league camp, he was fantastic. 2, I think they're putting a little bit of pressure on Marshy here. I truly believe that if Marshy struggles playing every day and Justin Crawford's down there raking, they might make that move quick. The other piece to this is it's good to have him there if for some reason you've got 2 guys who have been known to get banged up in Brandon Marsh and Max Kepler,
Mm-hmm.
that if he's playing well, you can get him up quickly.
Yeah.
If he's not, then it'll be Rojas, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have written down debuts in June, but I do think it could be. I know that starts his clock, and so they might hold him off. And, that's just me saying that to cover my own ass a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's hitting, he's hitting. And the Phillies haven't really shown that they're going to be a team to really care about that clock a whole lot. I mean, it's a 6-year clock. Like,
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I can see him up before June, if not in June, as long as he's, and I think going to a AAA. I really don't foresee him having issues at AAA, not with the swing I see.
Yeah. I'm not sure I have much to say. This would be an extremely interesting one.
Yeah. I also just really like the kid.
Yeah.
All right, what number?
4.
All right, I got Trey topping 120 runs. So I know what spring has been. I understand it's not been great. He showed a little bit of life here at the end of camp. If he's hitting leadoff, there is no reason why he can't score 120 plus runs with the guys behind him that are going to be behind. There's no reason. You got Bryce, Bohm, Schwarbs, like Casty, all these dudes hitting behind him. There's no reason why it can't happen. So I do believe 120 runs is in his wheelhouse, is in his ability, and is in his future. So this was a pretty easy one for me. It was obviously it was one of the first 4 that I wrote down. And I didn't have much hesitation. I do believe that Trey is going to show some more of what we know Trey to be this year. And that'll lead to a lot of runs.
Yeah. Again, nothing in my soul wants this to be true more. Like, this. I can't tell you how much I want this to be the Trey that we have.
Yeah.
As perfectly admitted on last week's podcast, I had some opinions about how I think Trey looks at the moment. He did have a pretty hard hit single to right field today against the Blue Jays. I don't know how much else he did outside of that. I haven't looked at the whole box score, but I had both games up, but I wasn't paying attention as close as I wanted to. But like again, I just, yes, like please give me this Trey, please. All I want is for Trey to be on base all the time for those guys to drive him in. So this might be the one my heart wants most, Azzy. This might be where we're at. This might be the one that my heart wants most. Maybe besides number 1.
Well, yeah. He was 1 for 4, so that hit was the only one he had. He had 2 strikeouts.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, you got 2, 6, 9, and 10 left. And then the automatic 12.
Let's go 10.
All right. The Phillies will have 6 All-Stars. They will have the entire infield,
Okay.
Wheels and Sanchi.
All right.
Now, Wheels will not go,
Of course.
just like last year. He will not attend, and taking his place will be Orion Kirkering.
All right.
So that's number 10. This year, Stott gets to go with his friends.
That would be pretty cool. Not gonna lie, that would be pretty cool.
They made fun of him last year on
They
national
did.
TV.
They did. Yeah.
So he'll be there with his friends this year.
That'd be awesome. That means we're having a good time. If that's what happens, it means we're having a good time.
And we will be.
And it means that text message might not be till April.
Well, we have
or May.
May.
I mean. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. You've got 2, 6, and 9 left.
Let's go 9.
Max Kepler will finish the season second on the team in home run.
All right. He's
I
hitting the
fully
ball
believe-
so hard.
I fully believe in the Max Kepler experiment. If there is a guy who I am in on to the extent of Christopher Sanchez, it's Max Kepler. The swing is so good. Whatever he and Kevin Long did, it's so good. It's so good. I'm convinced he's gonna eclipse 30 home runs this season. The stadium itself's gonna help him.
Yeah.
He hits the ball so hard.
Yeah.
And when he lifts it, it just goes.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he's a lock for 30 home runs. And I don't know that they have another guy. Like Bryce is going to get there. Probably Kyle's going to get there. But outside of those two, it feels like Kepler's a safe bet. And I think he could like Bryce could end up with like 32. Kepler could end up with 35. And then Schwarber is going to have, his 42, 40.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe more this year with it being a free agent year.
Yeah.
So
I love this. Did you read the Athletic article from the Twins beat writer who interviewed him?
Not yet.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, his
saved.
singles in the game today were 108 and 109 exit velocity. Like he is hitting the ball so hard.
Yeah, we're gonna get to know Max Kepler really.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, people who don't know him, you're gonna like him. We can go back and listen to the episode when we reaction and make fun of ourselves, because if this dude's healthy, man, we have all kinds of egg on the face.
Yeah.
And I'm more than happy to be proven.
Yep.
2 and 6.
6, please.
Orion Kirkering leads the team in saves and is top 5 in the NL in ERA, WHIP, and WAR for relievers.
All right. Big old breakout year for a Mr. Orion.
Big Orion.
Yeah.
Big Orion year.
You could say that belt is getting nice and hefty.
Nice. I believe in the arm. I believe in the confidence, in the moxie. I believe in the stuff. I don't think he's going to start the year as the closer. I think he's going to start the year as the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And have to get thrust into the role for some reason or another. Now I will say this, if I have to be wrong on any of these, it would be the saves. I don't give a shit about saves.
Yeah, right.
This is the first time I'm saying it in 2020. I don't give a shit who gets the last 3 outs. I really don't. Get me the last 3 outs and let's move along. if you're using Orion Kerkering in the 7th inning because you're facing Albies, Acuna, and Riley, good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you to save him
Yeah.
to face the bottom of their order.
Right.
I don't want that. I want him to be used against the best 3 hitters.
Yeah.
So if you're going to tell me I have to sacrifice one of those 4 things, saves, ERA, WHIP, or WAR, I'm going to sacrifice the saves. That's all. So
Love it.
that's it. Number 2.
Number 2.
And what I think will be your favorite outside number 1.
Oh, all right.
Bryson Stott leads the team in on-base percentage and batting average.
Yeah.
I don't need to say much else.
No, this would make me very happy.
I can't begin to really put into words just how crucial his season is to this team.
Yeah. We
know who Kyle Schwarber is. We know who Bryce Harper is. We know who Nick Castellanos is. We know what JT Realmuto is. We know who. Well, we kind of know about Trey. We kind of know about Bomer at this point, right? We've had 3 very different Brysons.
Yeah.
Right. We had rookie season Bryson Stott. We had sophomore season Bryson Stott, who was the best, which typically is not the case.
Yeah. Right.
And then we had 3rd season Bryson Stott, who played through injury. We got to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
And if he is who we think he is, that is a game-changing bat for the Phillies. If he's the guy we've seen this spring and the guy we saw the first part of last year, the first month,
Mm-hmm.
he's a different guy. He's a game changer for this roster.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can hit him anywhere in the order and he's going to make sense. So I do have him leading the team in batting average and on base percentage. I think he'll we could see his 300 eclipsed. We could see him up around 360 with his OBP, 360, 370. Neither would surprise me.
Yeah. I love this one. I love it.
Yep. All right, you ready for number 12?
Yes, please.
Okay. I, Azzy, will have coffee with Jose Alvarado.
Yes.
It is being said here. We are bookmark this now. I don't know what I'm going to do, but you can count on our social media platform having something that I will do every day until I get to have coffee with Jose Alvarado. For those of you that haven't seen it yet, go and watch the Phillies mic'd up with Jose Alvarado. This dude had 8 shots of espresso. He is wound. And I texted Regz and I said, Regz, we got to do the bet.
Yeah.
I am a new coffee drinker. I love it. I have it every day. And I want to have coffee with Jose Alvarado. So we are committing to the bit. Jose, this will be the first clip you see. And you seem like a nice guy. So make me work for it a little bit here.
That's
don't
fair.
just give it to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't just give it to me. We haven't figured out what the thing I'm going to do every day. If you have any ideas, please let us know.
Yeah.
What is something that I could do every day until I get to have coffee with Jose Alvarado? Is it throw a pitch? Is it have a cup of coffee from a different coffee place? Is it, I don't know. I don't know what it could be, but we'll take your ideas. We're open.
Yeah,
Jose,
absolutely.
Once we have that, I'm going to post this video and we will start the journey. Make me work for it a little. Don't just hand it to me. But I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I will do every day until I get to have coffee with Jose Alvarado.
I love it. I love
But
this.
the bold prediction is that it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. It's going to happen.
We're going to make it happen.
We manifest things on this show. We manifest them.
Do.
It's going to
We
happen.
do. So, Jose, be ready. Just be ready.
Listen, all I ask is that I get to film it.
Well, someone's got to film it.
Yeah. Just all I ask is that if I
can
be that person.
You imagine that big teddy bear and me having a cup of coffee together?
Yes, I can, and it'd be fantastic.
Just, two teddy bears having some coffee together.
Just two guys, right? Just two dudes.
Two baseball loving bros.
Right. Two baseball dudes having some coffee
Caffeining
together.
it up. Caffeine, and you know who's going to make it for us?
Who?
Bryce Harper.
Of course. Not sure Bryce puts that much caffeine into his body in a week.
I also don't know that we're gonna get much of what do you call influencer Bryce.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're getting both. Not sure we're getting both. Hey, be a hell of a get.
Jose, me and you,
Ian, hey,
coffee.
Here we go.
Me and you, we're in.
Starts today.
Well, yeah, as soon as we figure out what to do.
No, we're just letting them know today.
Anything else for the good of the cause?
No, this was fantastic.
All right, well, folks, we'll be back next week. We'll probably record earlier in the week than typical because of opening day. We're not going to wait till Thursday. We're going to do one more show before Thursday hits. So we'll be back next week, ready to rock and roll. Very excited. Next week will be a solely dedicated Philly show. Topics will vary. We might get some questions from you, the audience, for us to talk through as we enter the season. So look out on all your social media. If you do so, follow us, click subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Go to wherever you get your podcasts, follow, rate, do the whole thing. Go to your social media platforms at the Mic Drop 5, at Big Regz with a Z. Go over to the Facebook page, the Phixated fan page on Facebook. That's where I'll drop the first opportunity to ask some questions for a mailbag. And then go over to TikTok. Even if you don't have like an account, go on and follow the Phixated Pod on TikTok. We went from like 4 followers to like 150.
Yeah.
In like 2 weeks. We're gonna keep growing.
Azzy is killing it over there.
I'm
gonna start dabbling. I'm gonna start dabbling.
You should, man. It's fun.
I need to.
It is fun. And we are getting some fun engagements from people in there. So if you are even wondering, like, do I want to experiment with TikTok? Like,
listen, I wasn't a TikTok guy. I wasn't a TikTok guy.
Just go and follow us. Open it once in a while, and there will be.
There will be.
So Reg's gonna start dabbling.
Yeah.
Gonna do some vids.
Absolutely.
And we'll be throwing them up daily.
Also,
that's what we've been doing.
Instagram at the Phixated Pod is the new one. It is live.
Yes.
It is there. We're gonna start double posting the TikTok stuff to Instagram. And like I said, get ready for our Jose Alvarado bit because he has Instagram, and that's how we'll be reaching out.
And that might be a new T-shirt, Coffee with Alvy.
It might be.
Just coffee
or it
with
might
Alvy.
just be an Alvarado Silverette with big fan.
Yeah, big fan. And to everybody, to everybody, big fan. I loved it. It was so much fun. Big fan.
Yep. So good.
He kept calling Strom something too. It was all of it.
Mr.
So
Punchy.
Yeah, Mr. Punchy. Mr. Punchy. Big fan. Big fan. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Merchandise link in the show description. We'll be back next week. Look for the opportunity to ask questions. We love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. We'll talk to you in a week. Until then, Jose, we doing it.
Thank you, BG. Go Phils.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.